Hello and welcome to this week's edition, which is episode 11 of Impacted. And my name is Bison, and today I'm joined by my co-host, my brother from another mother. Lads, I said before, he's definitely my yin to my, he's definitely the yin to my yang, and he's coming to us from the empty space of his own mind, the Joker.
Creatures of the night, children of the void, and Nimrods. Hello.
Nimrods. I love it. How you doing, my brother?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good. Yeah, I'm well, mate. I'm well. Just been loving the Impact Wrestling stuff that's been going on over the last week or so. We've seen some interesting stuff coming out on socials and just in general. A little bit of a buzz from my interview with ODB this week as well. Did you catch it?
Oh, I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Good.
I just wish I could have been there.
I tell you what, mate, she is one crazy chick. She definitely lives up to the hype. She's an absolutely lovely lady, and I encourage anybody who hasn't actually popped over and checked out the interview with ODB to do so. It was a lot of fun. And a real lovely lady. She does love rubbing the pork butts, that's for sure. So I love that. It was great. Just a little reminder, we're coming to you today via the Total Nonstop Impact Network on YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, iTunes, wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. You will find the TNI network. Now, let's get slap bang into it, Joe. Let's get into it. Now, I've written quite a few things down here actually today because there's quite a lot to talk about, I think, over the last sort of, week or so since we last spoke. Unfortunately, one of them is that we do need to obviously offer our commiserations to the friends and family and the Impact family of the death of Bob Ryder. So I just want to, say, it's absolutely sad loss to everyone, to obviously the friends and family and to the Impact Wrestling family. Bob was one of the original guys that obviously came up with the idea of Total Nonstop Impact, famously on the fishing boat tour. All I say really is just thank you, Bob. All the best to your friends and family. Rest in peace.
Yeah, I'm sending my love to Bob Ryder's family and to everyone on the Impact roster. I know it's hit everybody hard just looking at what everyone's had to say. It's just sad. 2020 hasn't been kind. We lost the voice of Impact, and now we've lost the father of Impact. It's just tragic.
It is a real shame, absolute real shame. I know that. I mean, he'd been suffering from, I believe it was cancer for some time, and from what the reports say, he passed away in his sleep. So, at least he passed away peacefully. I know that's no consolidation, but at least we know that he didn't know anything of it. So, but all of our best wishes go to the family and friends of Bob Ryder. Okay, so moving on. Now, interestingly enough, I want to touch this subject first because it's basically it came out last night. Kurt Angle popped up a tweet on obviously the Twitter sphere, which basically was a picture of him with I think that was the original main event Mafia, and just a hashtag which stated main event Mafia. Now, we can make of this what we will, okay? But there have been rumors of late that Impact had been having discussions with Kurt Angle with regards to bringing him in. I believe the initial thought was to bring him in at Bound for Glory. Obviously that didn't happen, but I would assume that that he didn't give up. In which case, are we going to see a resurgence or re-emergence of the main event Mafia, Joe? What are your thoughts on this?
I saw it and instantly came up with a list of potential guys to be on it. I have not seen the main event Mafia fully. I've seen what I've seen is all on the flashbacks, but to see Kurt Angle there with Booker T, Kevin Nash, can't remember everybody else off the top of my head. But
Sting was in there as well, wasn't he, in the
yeah,
originals? I just think that the main event Mafia, there was two carnations of it. I just think that it was an amazing faction. It was a really great idea that they came up. I think Scott Steiner was in there as well.
yeah,
But it did get me thinking. And I did put a tweet out myself, just basically saying, like, what would a modern day main event Mafia and Impact Wrestling look like, say, if Kurt Angle was the manager, for instance, if he came back and was the manager. And it made me start thinking of the sort of kind of wrestlers it would work really, really well with Kurt Angle, based on the way that he wrestles, the type of guy that he is, how seriously he takes his craft, etc. And I think that, for me, if you had Kurt at the top, he doesn't even have to wrestle. I mean, I'm not bothered about him wrestling. Just as a managerial, these are the guys that I'm going to take to the main event, kind of thing. I think you would have to put Josh Alexander in there.
Yeah, so one of the guys I said as well.
Definitely, possibly Ethan Page in there as well. However, I'm not sure on that one. I'll tell you for why in a bit. And that's not because I think he's leaving. Nothing to do with that. I just have this kind of feeling that they've got plans for him to do something else. I think I also thought that possibly a Jordan Grace, because I don't think they ever had a female in the main event Mafia, but Jordan Grace is a grappler, or even Killer Kelly, or someone like that would be a because if you watch Killer Kelly, she sort of kind of has the Kurt Angle about her, the way that she performs, the way she comes into the ring, she's all business. She gets up on the turnbuckle, the way she puts in her face, her mouth guard and all that kind of stuff, very reminiscent of a Kurt Angle.
There was references to Kurt Angle when she was during their match.
That's right, there was. So I think that she would make a good one in there as well. But I don't know. Who do you think would make a good main event Mafia?
I tweeted this out yesterday, so I can't remember everyone off the top of my head. But Josh Alexander was one. I think if Willie Mack was another one. I said if Kurt Angle isn't going to be wrestling, then Brian Myers would be another one.
Oh, that was it. Brian Myers. Yeah, I think Brian Myers would be good for that.
And there was two others who I can't remember off the top of my head. But you mentioning Jordan Grace is someone who I wasn't thinking of, but thinking about it now to modernize it and to bring it into the new era, adding a woman into the mix as well would be good.
Yeah, I think so. And of course, she's a former Knockouts champion, so it makes sense. Whatever happens, a main event Mafia, the people that are in it have to be ex-champions or champions of some kind. of wise. You're not classed as a main event Mafia, member.
Yeah.
Like you have to be of that vein. So again, a Willie Mack makes sense. Maybe Brian Myers doesn't make sense because at the moment he's not a title holder, although I believe he did hold the title.
He's had belt belts in the WWE.
He has in WWE, isn't he? So he has held belts in other companies. So maybe, but again, Jordan, based on the fact that she's the Knockouts champion, you got the North. If they were to keep them together, maybe the North could be as former, currently former. Tag team champions, etc. So it's interesting to see where this one goes. There's a lot of people that could potentially, maybe Eddie Edwards. I mean, Eddie Edwards would probably be really good in this.
Yeah, it'd be an interesting heel turn for him as well.
Does it have to be a heel faction?
That's the other thing too. But yeah, I assume the main event Mafia was a heel faction. So
they kind of were. But they weren't a heel as in they were just sort of kind of nasty bastards or anything.
Yeah.
They were just felt that they were basically the main event. They were
rebellious.
They were a rebellious faction. You're right. They were saying, look, we're the main event. We should be in the main event. That's basically any one of us. We should all be champions. That's it. That's basically the bottom line of main event Mafia. It's I don't know. It's interesting to see where that one pans out. I'm looking forward to seeing if it does turn out that way. Maybe he's going to turn up, say, Hard to Kill. It's going to be a pay-per-view thing, I would imagine. He's not just going to turn up on the weekly show. But yeah, you have to start sowing the seeds, I guess. So maybe that's what Kurt's doing. He's sowing the seeds, ready for his triumphant return.
Yeah, that'd be good.
But it will be interesting to see how this one pans out. Or we could just be fantasy booking right now. Who knows? Who knows? I'd love to hear your thoughts, guys. Let us know who you think in the comments below would make a really good modern version of the main event Mafia. Even if it didn't involve Kurt. Even if you were thinking that somebody else could lead it, someone else could be the leader of a brand spanking new main event Mafia. Who, leave us your thoughts. Let us know what you think. I think it's definitely a talking point. That's for sure. Now, that moving on swiftly, I just want to talk about where is the big LG now. Yes, where is he? No, we've got the we've had the reference that he was taken out by Ethan Page, or was he? Could it have been maybe the Karate Man, for instance? But anyway, we know that he was taken out somehow with regards to Ethan Page. We don't know how, but we know it was something to do with Ethan Page. Certainly based on his promo that he did this past week on Impact, it was obviously something to do with him. We'll get to some of that stuff in a second. So where is he though? I mean, he was taken out, but is he in hospital? Is he at home? I mean, where is he? Where is the big LG? What's going on? Because there's no reference to that other than the fact that he's been taken out.
Yeah, it's a big mystery, and it also has me thinking: is he going to come back as an alter ego?
Mate, Sex Ferguson.
Yeah, is he going to come back as Sex Ferguson to really, really try and break Ethan Page?
It'll be interesting. Sex Ferguson versus the Karate Man.
Yeah,
maybe. I don't know. I think it's interesting to see what's going on with this. Definitely. I mean, that leads me on to obviously what I wanted to talk about with regards to Ethan. Now, this past week he did do quite a long promo, and he didn't put a foot wrong in it either. It was a really good promo. It was gripped me from start to finish. Obviously, he discussed all sorts of things in there, which is all sort of kind of like alluding to the fact that at the end of the day, he took out the big LG. He also, what I found interesting was he also did a big roundhouse kick on the end of it, which is something which, a turning heel kick, which is something that he does as the Karate Man. He doesn't do that as Ethan Page. So, that's what obviously had me thinking, is this going to be, are we going to get to see the Karate Man on Impact Wrestling versus maybe, Big LG, or like we just said, will we see Sex Ferguson turn up, the alter ego of the Big LG? I don't know. What do you think?
I think that is Sex Ferguson is going to try and bring out the Karate Man. You could tell Josh Alexander was just not impressed throughout the whole promo. He was sat in the corner, shaking his head every time Ethan Page is going on and on.
And this is the thing. This is where I think things are going now. So for 2 weeks in a row now, you're clearly seeing Josh in the background, just like nodding his head, like what, for fuck's sake, just totally fed up with Ethan Page. I think, he's looking fed up with Ethan Page, his antics, his ego, because of course Ethan is all ego, Ethan Page. So I think he's generally just completely fed up with Ethan, and I think that's what they're trying to do now. Okay, so here's my thought process on this. They are splitting them up. Obviously, they're going to split them up. Now, there's two reasons for this. One is obviously that maybe Ethan's on his way, but the other thing is that maybe they want to go into 2021 with Ethan as a single and Josh as singles competitors, and they are going in completely separate directions. So, like I said, just like we were talking about with the main event Mafia idea, maybe it won't be the North is in there because, they're not going to be, they're not going to be friends. You know what I mean? They're going to be split. Okay. So, there is the potential then for, us to see an Ethan versus Josh, kind of feud as well. So I don't know. Well, or I guess what I'm trying to say here is that one of them is that he's obviously not going to sign, and he's not re-signing and he's going. Which
I hope
also,
that's not the case.
and I hope that's not the case, because Ethan is an amazing guy, amazing talent, and we should keep him. We should be doing everything that we can to keep him. Or it's just splitting them up so that they can now start their singles run in the company, as single stars in their own right. So that's the two options. I'm hoping it's the latter. I'm hoping that that's what we're doing. We're going to go down the route of those guys becoming single stars in their own right, from starting sort of kind of at the end of this lot of tapings, I guess, whichever that accumulates to. Maybe it'll accumulate in a Ethan Page versus Josh Alexander at Hard to Kill.
Yeah, it's an interesting turn of events, and Ethan Page has done a really good job in helping Josh Alexander establish himself since he's come in. So now is a good time to break the North up and give Josh Alexander that solo run that they were hoping to put him down when he'd come in, but they were just wondering how do we sell this guy. And Ethan Page stepped in and said, let me sell him for you. And that's exactly what he's done. And then Josh Alexander's backed it up in the ring. You know, look at his matches against Vikingo, against Michael Elgin, against even against Doc Gallows.
Yeah.
He's just, we've said it before, Josh Alexander is one of the best technical wrestlers on the roster. And now I think it's the right time to push him on his way in a different direction.
Possibly, yeah. And I think that's where this is going. And I really hope that this is where it's going. So fingers crossed for that. Now, the other thing is that we saw the return. So, we talk about tag team wrestling. We saw the return tonight of the Motor City Machine Guns against Triple XL. Now, I thought that they looked great. I thought both teams I thought it was a great match this past week on it, but I thought it was a great match. Both teams looked really, really strong. I thought Larry D's character was a lot more aggressive, which was really good, and then led on to what we saw a little bit later in the show. But I thought he was really aggressive, and even you could see even AC looked a little bit surprised at how aggressive Larry was being. Yeah. But what we saw was the Motor City Machine Guns full throttle, doing what they do best, looking great. Now, and of course, they win the match. But like I said, they win the match. Everyone looks strong. Triple XL didn't look weak in the loss. They looked strong they looked really strong in the loss. But they did. But obviously, Motor City Machine Guns win. They move on. They get over them. They're now looking at the North. Okay, so again, are we now? This is the thing. Are we going to see another loss for the North? Because
what's going to be that final nail in the coffin?
The nail in the coffin, exactly. So I think that's what we're going to be looking at next. Motor City Machine Guns versus the North. Where's that going to go? And that's very interesting as well. But one thing was for sure, it was great to see the Machine Guns back, wasn't it?
It was great to see them back in full flow. We've not seen them really, really go at that since they took on the Rascals at Summerversary, I think it was. They took them on. And then since then, it's always been a bit touch and go with the Motor City Machine Guns for me. But to see them come back, and they didn't dominate Triple XL like you said. Triple XL really took them to the limit, and there was just smart tag team wrestling from both sides throughout the match.
Yeah, without doubt.
Establishing the Motor City Machine Guns are tactical tag team wrestlers. They're not just going high flying, high impact moves. That really are smart, legitimate tag team.
They come up. I think they're very, they always were innovative in the way that they approach their offense. There's lots of real sort of kind of like tag team moves. Yeah. Everything's set up. Like when they set him up into the rope, and you get the double kick, and you get all the different things that they do, which is sort of kind of to enhance the impact moves that they do. And there's never any loss of motion. Everything that they do has purpose. And it just, it's just, I don't know. I think they're an amazing tag team. And I love watching them. And I love the fact that they have not lost a step.
Yeah, exactly.
And they deserve all the accolades, all the praise that they get. as for being such a good tag team, and whenever they win that tag gold, it's well deserved. You can't say, oh, they don't deserve it, because they bloody well do. They're amazing. So it's great. It's great to see them back in full swing. I thought Alex Shelley hadn't lost a step either. I mean, they obviously come back from an injury, but he seemed to be fine, full throttle, off he goes. But what I did notice, actually, is at the end of the match, he seemed very stoic.
Yeah.
So almost like he was kind of like, annoyed. He was sort of kind of like looking a bit sinister. I don't know whether you caught that. Whereas Chris was still doing his, doing all this and doing his usual thing. Whereas I thought Alex was looking very sort of kind of like, just staring into space kind of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was looking a bit stoic, not his normal self. So I'm wondering whether there's something interesting going on there as well, which could be based, again, like we always say, long-term storytelling. You know what I mean? Like, they start with these little things that eventually turn into slightly bigger and bigger and bigger, and before you know it, you've got something massive in the storyline. But there's all these little things that sort of kind of mount to something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I might be wrong. I might be completely off base with this one, but I just felt that Alex was looking a little bit stoic in this one and not his usual, up and yes, we got the win and, all that type of attitude. So interesting. Very, very interesting.
It's like he's laser focused on getting the tag team titles back, and that's his priority rather than celebrating, because it's like the job's not done yet. We got the North to go through. And then we got the Good Brothers.
Exactly. So maybe you're right there. Maybe that's what it is. He's just focused on the prize. Who knows? But talking about tag team wrestling, we also this past week on Impact had the Knockouts tag tournament continue, and that was Jordynne Grace and Jazz, the returning Jazz, to competitive wrestling versus the incredible Killer Kelly and Renee Michelle. Now, first of all, obviously we ended up with a Grace and Jazz win, which was what I predicted last week. I'm kind of along the lines of, why you don't bring in someone like Jazz with a bit of star power if you're not going to progress them a little bit further. And I still believe they'll end up in the final. But there you go. We'll soon find out, because obviously they're then going to face Nevaeh and Havoc. So it's going to be interesting how that all pans out. But I think that's going to be a beast of a match. But the standout for me in this tag match was Killer Kelly. Now, I keep saying this. I've been saying it for months. You got to sign this girl.
Yeah, you need to.
I'm not saying don't sign Renee Michelle, because I think she's good also. She had a good presence about her. She's got a great look. I thought she was good in the ring too. When she got in there, she took some bumps and then she gave some great offense. They both told a good story. They worked well together, the pair of them.
Yeah, she was surprisingly really aggressive.
She was very aggressive. I never expected that at all. But Killer Kelly is a star. There is no doubt in my mind that we need Killer Kelly signed to the Impact Wrestling Knockouts roster ASAP. Yeah. What are your thoughts?
Well, if you guys had checked Jordynne Grace's Twitter after the match, she put it out plain simple to what everyone's thinking. Sign Killer Kelly, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, like, Jesus Christ. She is phenomenal athlete. And like I said earlier, when we were talking about the main event Mafia thing, she really does have like this female Kurt Angle feel and look to her. Just in the way that she wrestles, the way that she comes to the ring, she's all business, all purpose. I honestly believe that she has got star written all over her, and if we do not get that girl signed to a contract to join the Knockouts roster, mate, honestly, that is going to be one big loss.
Yes, it's a huge missed opportunity. I want to see Killer Kelly and Renee Michelle signed in. I want to see the C-Star signed in as well. I want to see.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if we're gonna create a legitimate tag division within the knockouts, you have to have some legitimate tag teams,
Yeah.
right? Now, for me, Renee and Killer Kelly are not. I don't see them continuing as tag team, not because they didn't work well together. They didn't. They look good together as well. They were good,
Yeah.
but they're not. They're single stars. They're not a tag team. Whereas the Sea Stars are a tag team. So let's get the Sea Stars in as a legitimate tag team for the tag division of the knockouts, right?
Yeah, that's
But
one of the things that made this match work really well, was that both teams aren't like well-known tag teams. They're just singles competitors coming together, and
yeah,
it was a good mix for the entire match. But I'll let you continue on. Sorry, I didn't mean to jump in.
no, you carry on, my friend. We're here to discuss this stuff, so your opinion is just as important as mine. Um, Now, Jazz, what were your thoughts on Jazz? I loved her ring attire. That face mask thing that she comes out, the masquerade mask
Yeah,
thing, I thought was pretty cool. And obviously she's got Jazz written on her back, which was also pretty cool. So what did you think of Jazz?
it, she looks fantastic. I've not seen her since the brief time I saw her in WWE. Changed a hell of a lot. And
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, I mean, she had long dark hair, didn't she?
yeah,
And she was a real powerhouse wrestler, a real badass.
yeah,
So I didn't feel that any of this changed. I thought she was still a badass. She still had a bit of tempo about her. She was good. I mean, don't get me wrong. Jordan took the majority of the work, but Jazz still had it, didn't she? She still
oh,
got it.
she delivered, and she took quite a few bumps as well, which is good to see.
I thought it was good. I think they legitimately it was a good tag. It was a good tag match. Both big strong girls. And they took it to Killer Kelly and Renee Michelle. But what was interesting in this match, like I said, both Renee and Killer Kelly got really good show. It wasn't a case of
Yeah,
that they just ran over them. They didn't just bring them in to run over them. That didn't happen at all. It was a really, really good, strong, solid show from everybody in this match. And I know, they're going to go on now. So they're in the semi-final. So we've got Jordan and Jazz now into the semi-final against Nevaeh and Havoc. And I think that is going to be a hell of a match also. I'm still going to go with Jordan Grace and Jazz winning that one. If it was the other two, I think it would have been the other way. But I just think if you're going to bring in Jazz,
yeah.
you want to get the most out of her. She's got to make it through to the final. So at Hard to Kill main event, not main event, but pay-per-view
It'll probably
show.
be co-main event, or it'll be second or third match in.
It's gonna be. I would say it'd probably be fourth.
Yeah,
It'd probably be the fourth or fifth match on the card, I think. But it's it's going to be interesting to see how this pans out. Are you still going with Nevaeh and Havoc for the final?
I'm leaning more towards Jazz and Jordan Grace. But if they do lose, then Jazz a match at Hard to Kill as a final send off. So Jazz still finishes with on the high. So that's something else I'd like to see. I want Havoc and Nevaeh to win, but I think Jordan Grace and Jazz are gonna win the match.
Yeah. I mean, even if they lost, I mean, there's nothing to say that we wouldn't get a singles match with Jazz. I just think that the best way to showcase Jazz or to bring some eyes to the tournament is the fact that they brought her in.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? So utilize that all the way through, and then if they lose in the final, whoever they lose to are going to get a hell of a rub, aren't they?
definitely.
And I think that's exactly what this is set up to do for me, and that's why I believe that they will end up in the final. Whether it be against Kira and Tasha, which I think is who it's going to be, or whether it be against. Although the trouble is, I'm assuming here that Rosemary and Ty are going to get past Kimberly and Deanna Purrazzo in their first round match.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be the case, and I honestly think that we're going to see a Tasha Steeles and Kiera Hogan versus Jordan Grace and Jazz, but we're going to have to wait and see. So next week, that's what we've got. Next week we have got
Rosemary and Claire Valkyrie versus Kimberly and Deanna Prazo. I want to know is, now that Deanna Prazo and Kimberly have taken out Su Yung, what's the price they've got to pay?
Yeah, see, that's interesting.
Yeah,
I get what you're saying.
We saw what James Mitchell did to Ali when she sold her soul to go to the undead realm.
Yeah.
So what's he going to do to Deanna Prazo and Kimberly? Just because he's got Su Yung doesn't mean he's going to stick to his word. You know, you make a deal with the devil, and
you deal with the devil, you pay the consequences.
Yeah. He might be a fallen angel, but he's still James Mitchell.
Yeah, definitely. Now, that's interesting you should mention Su Yung and James Mitchell, because that leads nicely onto our next subject, which is the story that we've got going on at the moment with Su Yung, Deanna Prazo. Now, and obviously James Mitchell's now getting involved in that. What are your thoughts on this storyline so far? Because last week we had the Susie and Su Yung thing going on, which was pretty cool.
Pop of the year.
Exactly. And this week, what we've got is basically James Mitchell coming out. Deanna Prazo and Kimberly have made the deal with the devil. So James Mitchell comes out. The undead bridesmaids then obviously come along and they end up taking out. Kimberly, Deanna Prazo end up taking out Su Yung, but with the help of the undead bridesmaids, and then obviously the undead bridesmaids carry her out. What are your thoughts on all of this?
I thought if this is going to be taking out Su Yung for a while, I thought it's happened too soon. But it's a story that's got you thinking of so many different ways it's going to turn out, either in Su's favor or in Deanna's favor.
Yeah,
it might even turn out in Kimberly's favor.
I think you can almost guarantee that it's going to be in Father Mitchell's favor.
Oh yes, it's always going to. And the music he came out to, that got everyone buzzing. And
the new church. Yeah. And again, is that what he's doing? Is he reforming the new church? I don't think he's taking Su out. I think he's bringing her back on side.
Yeah, that's what crossed my mind, because James Mitchell did mention that Su Young's not here. I can't control her.
Exactly.
You need to bring her to me, is what he said. And so Deanna Prazo goes down to the ring and calls her out there. And so it got things tweaking there, like what James Mitchell did to Havoc and what James Mitchell was trying to do to Rosemary. And so all these little cogs in that are just ticking, tweaking now, just thinking about it and talking about it now. So this is what I love about James Mitchell. When he's there, so many different things cross your mind. If you look like what he did with the Abyss and all sorts of things. It's just I think a fantastic character.
I think it's amazing how they've sort of kind of like really brought this undead realm to life. With regard, they take it away and then they bring it back again.
Yeah.
I just think that it's something which is so unique to Impact Wrestling. It's what we say in the sales word. It's a unique selling point for the product, and I think it really is so unique to Impact Wrestling that it really draws people in. I know some people don't like it. Some people think it's ridiculous. It's kayfabe. It's something different. It's entertainment. It's a story, and they tell it so well. And when you've got characters like Rosemary and you've got characters like Su Yung, it's perfect, isn't it? Even Havoc is also part of this sort of kind of like undead realm thing. So will Havoc and Nevaeh have a part in all of this moving forward? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I really don't know where it's going to go. And will we start seeing an introduction of more guys, right? Because will maybe I've I've said a couple of times that I think it'd be cool to have a faction called the Misfits or something like that. But maybe they could bring Crazy Steve back into the fold.
Oh yeah.
We could, because at the end of the day, he is Rosemary's brother.
Yeah.
So who knows where this could all lead. I just think that the way that they're doing it at the moment, the storytelling, they're really taking advantage of the fact that everything is taped with no audience.
Yeah.
So there's no spoilers. There's no spoilers getting out. Each and every we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, Impact have really, I said it before, they've really capitalized on the way things have gone this year. They've not let it damage the product. It's really, really helped push characters like Su Young. It's helped push the Dinas. It's helped push Rohit Raju. These guys have really, really benefited from the bit more because there's less people who've come on the roster at the moment because of the pandemic. They've really helped bolster these guys up a lot more.
I think it's effectively said, look, guys, we haven't got no audience. We really need you guys to step up your game. They've gone in there, they stepped up the game. When you do get an audience in there, it's going to be insane because these guys are going to be so good at performing without an audience. Can you imagine what they're going to be like once they've got one?
Yeah, Rohit's going to blow the roof off.
Oh God, is he? He's going to be amazing. But interestingly enough, this storyline and talking about how we're able to, or how they're able to use it to their advantage with the unpredictability of it all. That leads us on to the story that I've heard this week with regards to Impact recording multiple endings at the last set of tapings. There's a couple of reasons for that, isn't there? The one is that you're sort of kind of keeping it unpredictable. So, with regards to the fact that, if anybody does leak any information, if they've got something which is really cool, or they got some storylines running that, you're not necessarily going to know which ending they're going to go with.
Yeah.
All right. So if anything does get leaked, they could just change it completely.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? Which is great. And also, obviously, that leads to the fact that, if we do lose a few characters or a few of the current roster, God forbid we lose Rosemary. I don't think that's going to happen. And to be honest with you, like Taya, again, has been very vocal, the fact that she loves being part of the knockout roster and stuff. So, God forbid either of those two don't re-sign at the end of January, February time. We've got Ethan, obviously, who's currently up in the air with regards to his. You've got Sammy, who's also coming, his contract's coming to an end. There's a good 4 or 5 good people. So I guess, the fact that they are covering all bases, I think makes a lot of sense. And it's interesting. I'm glad they've done it. What about you?
Well, it's not unusual for companies to do a lot of alternative endings and extra recordings. To be honest, it's not as new as people think it is. And we've also got the pandemic as well. If someone falls ill, they need to cover their bases as much ways as they can.
Yeah.
And it's just smart, and hopefully we'll get to see some of these alternative endings pop online or something down the road. It would be a great extra thing for Impact Plus. It's like here's what could have happened. Here's what
could have happened.
It's J-Bone and Willamette talking about it last night when we were watching along on Twitch. It would be interesting just to see all these little here's what we could have done, and here's what we made earlier. Type thing. It would be really interesting to see that introduced by Jimmy Jacobs and Don Callis or something like that.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see how all of that. Jimmy would be perfect for that, wouldn't he? As a really good storyteller himself, and he's probably been a big part of coming up with these alternate, endings, etc. But I think one thing's for sure. I think they've done the right thing. They've done the right thing by
smart.
Covering bases. Exactly, they're being smart, and it makes sense that they don't end up in a situation where they do an ending to a storyline one way and then that screws them leading into the next set of tapings kind of thing. So I think that works. I think it worked. I think that's going to work really, really well. Now the other thing I want to talk about this past week is talking about Sammy as well. Talking about Sammy, he obviously ended up getting jumped by Mrs. Alicia Edwards. She was a bit annoyed at the way that he obviously bashed in Eddie's skull last week, and he's at home recovering from all of that. That was an interesting moment.
That was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean,
she's hardcore.
She is hardcore. She was getting in there, and yeah, she wasn't very impressed with being held back either at the end, which was cool. But leading to that moment of Sammy being on his own, we saw Sammy and Ken Shamrock trying to enter the building, and then obviously we got the Scott D'Amore and his security backing him up.
Proper security,
proper security, not fake security. They were obviously they suspended Shamrock. So for a couple of weeks, or I can't remember if they stated how long that was going to be.
About 6 weeks.
Yeah, about 6 weeks.
He'll be back in January, basically.
Yeah. So it's interesting to see what pans out there. So we've now got Sammy on his own. Which obviously led to the moment where he gets jumped by Mrs. AIP herself. So he wasn't very happy about that. Did you notice he's wearing a brand spanking new hat, by the way? Did you notice the new hat he was wearing?
Sammy's got new attire out now. He's promoting all that. And Sammy's reaction to Ken Shamrock was just go home. We've got this. I think this is leading to Ken Shamrock versus Eddie Edwards next year at Hard to Kill.
You think?
Yeah.
Interesting. I honestly think it's going to be Sammy versus Eddie.
Or Sammy versus Eddie, but it's definitely going to be one of those two.
Do we think though that Hard to Kill is probably going to be the last time we see Ken?
Most likely.
Yeah, I have this feeling too. I mean, I know that there's big rumors that he's going to be going into the WWE Hall of Fame as well next year. So I think there's obviously, once he's done his program with Impact, he'll then move on to maybe do something there where they'll start releasing like the best of Ken Shamrock and all that kind of stuff. And I think that's what he's going to lead to. But I think he's doing some good stuff at the moment. I thought the promo there, the Vignet thing was pretty good.
Yeah.
I love the way Sammy reacted. He sort of kind of like
he tried to stop him from whacking Scott D'Amore.
Yeah, which was interesting. Yeah. So yeah, interesting how that's now got to pan out. So I mean, obviously we had that little snippet of Sammy there, and then a little bit where Alicia obviously attacked Sammy, so we had that. He sort of like, he storms off or whatever. So it's interesting to see where that storyline's going. But again, they still made sure that it was covered.
Yeah, it's good to see.
Yeah, they still made sure that it was covered. Okay, now leading on from that, because we've been talking about in the last couple of weeks that we've sort of started to see basically like these factions being created, and one of them obviously is the Shamrock and Sammy one, but I don't think that one's gonna. I don't know. I think I don't think that's gonna last past Hard to Kill. I think so, but so it'll be interesting how that one goes on. But we've got the Eric Young and the Joe Doring one going on now. I've put a little thing here. I put a little plus sign because I still believe that there's more to come for that, because they're using the letters US, us.
Yeah.
Again, I've put in brackets here. They use it a lot. It belongs to us. It's very predominant. And keep saying it, us, us, us. And I do not believe that is just talking about him and Joe. Right now, we initially thought it was the whole multiple personality thing. Well, okay, maybe it is the multiple personality thing as well as.
I don't see Super Eric going into a heel faction.
No, nor do I. So I think it's the current, obviously, version of Eric Young with Joe Doring as obviously the big man. But who else are we going to see join this faction? Now, is he bringing more people in, or can you see someone from the roster joining Eric Young? Thinking Cody Deaner right here.
Yeah, Cody Deaner. that's something I can add to something else later on. Cody Eunice to go on, or Cousin Jake, because you're seeing a rift coming between them now.
Well, what's interesting is the way that he didn't see. I know that we've had a match set up, but do you not? I don't know. He didn't say I wanted to fight Eric Young. He said I want to prove to Eric Young I'm nobody.
Yeah.
Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So is he saying I want to prove to him and be part of what he's doing, or is he saying I want to beat his ass?
Cody Deaner is fired up and he's getting madder and madder and madder as the weeks go by.
Yeah,
and part of me also still thinks Heath might jump into that faction as well.
Yeah,
because
maybe.
That they've kept him behind closed doors when we took him out, so we don't know what they've actually done to him.
Yeah, they might not have took him out. They might have just offered him they might have just given him a proposition.
Yeah,
get yourself well, you're in.
Heath and Cody Deaner, get them together and put them with Eric Young and Joe Doran, and then you got a faction right there.
Because we haven't seen Rhino either, have we?
No.
So Rhino's been missing a little bit over the last couple of weeks too. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all pans out. I believe that there's more to come. I definitely believe that. So it's going to be very, very interesting where this storyline leads. But I'm telling you now, there's definitely more than just two of them.
Yeah, there definitely is. There's something. There's a Easter egg there somewhere.
Definitely, and obviously, it's all built around.
Promo he did for Bound for Glory. The world doesn't belong to them; it belongs to us.
Exactly.
And Eric Young is carrying on that narrative perfectly.
It's great because this is definite. Again, this is what we're talking about. What Impact do so well is that they are very good at setting up long-term storytelling. And again, like you said, this whole It's All About Us was built up to Bound for Glory, and it's now continuing on from Bound for Glory, and obviously it's going to go on at least until Hard to Kill. Do we see anybody else? Do we see somebody joining him? I would say the odds on Cody Deaner joining that faction is very strong. Whether that includes Cousin Jake, I don't know, because I'd like to see Cousin Jake, go solo, become a solo badass on the roster, because we all know from other promotions that the guy is a hoss. I mean, he is a potential champion right there. So, will we see the Deaner split up, and will we see him going? Obviously, Jake going alone, and I don't know. I've just got this feeling that Cody Deaner having to prove to his old school friend that was around, when he first started wrestling, is about joining the faction and not beating him, right? So. Interesting how that one's going to go.
There is a lot of history between Cody Deaner and Eric Young. He had Cody Deaner and ODB, and Eric Young took ODB from Cody. So there's a personal rivalry there as well as everything else. And like Cody Eunice said, this man was my best friend, and now look at how he's treating me. Exactly. So that there's something definitely going on behind the scenes.
Definitely, without doubt. And I am interested to see the Heath thing, because I think you're right there. I think you're right. I think we don't know whether he took a beating or whether he got a proposition. Do we? We don't know. All we know is that they went into the room, they shut the door, and that was it. We're just assuming that he got a beating. So I don't know. Maybe Heath Slater is part of this Us faction. Who knows?
We need to know your thoughts, guys. This is a good talking.
Let's leave your thoughts, guys. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Let us know. I mean, we've been talking about quite a lot of things today. What are your thoughts on the Motor City Machine Guns moving forward? What are your thoughts on the Knockouts Tag Tournament? Where do you think that's going to lead? where is the big LG? You know, what are your thoughts on what's going on there? Kurt Angle, main event Mafia. What's all that about? You know, where do you think that's going? You know, we've got the Ethan Page, Josh Alexander. You know, that looks like it could be, you know, leading to some sort of kind of split there. How do you think that's going to pan out? What do you think's going on there? Who do you think could be part of the us faction that EY seems to be creating at the moment? And what are your thoughts on the Undead Realm? You know, I mean, we love it, but do you? We know that some people don't. And I'm well interested to hear what you guys think of the Undead Realm. I really, really am. Now, and also we've got the multiple endings as well. You know, what are your thoughts on why that's gone on? And do you think it's, you know, what do you think of them doing that? Is it something they should possibly do more often just to cover bases? It's smart, right?
Very smart. Know. Yeah.
You know, it's two men's discussion. It's two men's thoughts. What are your thoughts? Let us know. Let us know in the comments below. Okay, now that leads us on to probably the one of the last things I want to talk about today, and that is that obviously we've got Final Resolution coming to Impact Plus on the 12th of December, Saturday, 12th December. We've got that. We're going to do a preview on that one, Joe, aren't we?
Oh,
and then we'll do a review. But we've had a couple of matches already released. Okay, so we've got Ethan versus Carl Anderson.
Yeah.
We've got that one set. That's going to be interesting. I think that's going to be a great match. Both awesome wrestlers. It's going to be a good match. But we've also had, and this is the one that I'm going to dispute a little bit. We're going to have a little chat about this one, right? But we've also had the release of Rich Swann versus Chris Bay in the main event obviously for the Impact World Championship.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this past week on Impact Wrestling, we saw Chris Bay versus Willie Mack. And it was a really good match. It was a really good match, wasn't it?
It was one of Willie Mack's best matches.
I think so.
Yeah. It was so solid. No wasted motion this time.
It was fantastic. It was an incredible storytelling in the ring. It could have gone either way, but we ended up with Willie Mack, deservedly so. He deserves this, Willie Mack beating Chris Bay. Did we not?
Yeah, we did.
We did. Right, okay. Now, we then saw, now this is the interesting bit, we then saw a bit of a beatdown going on, didn't we? We saw another beatdown going on. And we saw Rich Swann coming out to basically help. And then what we saw was Chris Bay doing the finesse, is it the ultimate finesse or whatever it's called, on Rich Swann, laying him out. And then lifting up the world title above his head. You know, this is going to be me. Now, and then once that happened, Josh Matthews announced that the night belonged to Chris Bay. Now, this is where, right, this is where I'm going to dispute this because he lost.
Yeah.
Okay, he lost to Willie Mack. So surely, and it was clean. It was a clean loss. There was no cheating. It was nothing. It was a clean loss to Willie Mack. It was a great match, but he lost. So who should be getting the title match at Final Resolution? Should it be Chris Bay or should it be Willie Mack? For me, this doesn't work. What are your thoughts?
Firstly, I love the match and the way they built up a few weeks against Rich, like poking him, prodding him, trying to tweak that opportunity, and every time Rich Swann said, "You got to earn this opportunity. You got to earn this opportunity," and then you get Moose coming in and really riling Chris Bay up as well. So something is triggering in Chris Bay. And I was shocked to see this one, that the match has been announced between Chris Bay and Rich Swann. I was thinking maybe Willie Mack would get a title shot first as well, and then Moose and Chris Bay would go into next year and have a match then with Rich Swann. I'm not disappointed at the match being announced, but I think it's like Chris Bay has finally pushed Rich Swann over the edge, and so Rich Swann said, "You want a title match? You've got a match." But they need to build on this now next week to sort of put it into place and make more sense of it, because at the moment it just being announced like that is a bit up in the air.
Because he lost.
Because he lost. You know,
he lost the match. He lost the match.
He lost the match, and
you can't tell somebody they deserve. They need to earn a match. You know, a title shot. But then when they lose, you give them a title shot.
Yeah. The only thing, the night did belong to Chris Bay, because at the end of the night he was the last person standing in the ring. So that's where I see what Josh Matthews was alluding to. But just because he was the last man standing after losing a match doesn't mean you're not your number one contender.
No, exactly. And I think there is a little blip there for me. It doesn't make sense. Okay, you know, he laid Rich Swann out, but he didn't, you know, that doesn't earn you a title match, you know. And Rich was very clear saying, look, you know, you have to earn your shot at this.
Yeah.
But he's very clear in that in previous weeks. He was very clear. That's what led to the Willie Mack match.
Yeah.
But then he loses to Willie Mack. So the person that's earned the shot surely is Willie.
Yeah. Then this goes back onto where I was going. So I'm sort of dropping Moose in. Moose is getting all these mind games on Rich Swann. You know, he's like, and he's getting all these mind games on Chris Bay, and Chris Bay is now using those mind games to his advantage, and like everyone is poking Rich Swann. We've got Ken Shamrock poking Rich Swann, Sammy Callahan poking Rich Swann, Chris Bay and Moose are all after Rich Swann, and so Rich Swann his frame of mind is all over the place. He's focusing on giving the title to guys who earn it and guys who deserve it. So he wants to defend his title against Willie Mack more than anybody else in my eyes.
I think he wants to, and the reality is that it should be. I think Final Resolution should be a title match between Rich Swann and Willie Mack. I honestly believe that. Like
or triple
that's where it's going to lead to. Maybe Willie will come back next week and say, "Whoa, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
I won the match."
Yeah, it's got me interested to see how they're going to make this make sense next week. But they need to do something.
They've got to do something, because I don't think it makes sense at the moment.
Yeah, we got about 10 days from the date we're recording, so they got a little while yet to get it all to make sense.
I'm sure it will. I think, you know, for me, that this at the moment, the way it's been announced, the fact that, you know, Chris loses and then all of a sudden he gets a title shot doesn't make sense to me at the moment. So what I'm hoping is that over the next couple of weeks, maybe we'll see Willie get inserted into the match and we'll end up with a three-way, because Willie deserves that. You know, he does deserve it. He's been an amazing competitor. You know, he was even voted the one to watch, for 2020. And he has backed it up. He's been great. And he's done everything that they've asked him to do. He's lost when he's needed to. He's done everything. He deserves this. You know, he deserves, a good main event shot at Final Resolution at the title. And I think, you know, I hope that that's what happens. I hope we end up with Willie Mack being inserted into that. I do believe that obviously when it comes to 2021, they're now building to Moose, being the man to take on that title, and then run with it in 2021. It's going to be an incredible year, I think. So, I hope that they make sense of this, because to me at the moment it doesn't, and I was actually a little bit disappointed when I saw that release, because I was hoping it was going to be Willie.
I don't want to see another Moose versus Willie Mack match too soon. You know, Willie Mack's lost the last two, and not going to say it's going to get old and get boring, but Moose has dominated Willie Mack in both the matches now. So Willie Mack needs a major kick out the ass if he's going to beat Moose, and Moose is just, if Willie Mack beats Moose, it's going to knock Moose down.
Yeah.
Moose needs to keep this momentum he's got now, so anyone he goes against is going to get dominated.
Yeah, I totally agree.
You can't put Willie Mack in the match against Moose again, because Willie Mack's momentum is going to get knocked down even more.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. It's going to be to see where this one all pans out. I do have faith in Impact Wrestling in terms of the way that they build their stories. I was just a little bit surprised when it got announced. I was like, oh, this is great. Willie wins, so now Willie's going to get a shot at the world title. And he deserves it. He really, really does. So maybe they're going to head towards a three-way main event at Final Resolution. That would be interesting to see how that goes.
It'd be a great way to finish the year as well.
Oh, great. Mate, it certainly would. It'd be an amazing way to finish the year. I agree with you. Really, really good. Okay, well, I think that's about all we've got time for today, Joe. It's been another great discussion on all things Impact, as always. I'd just like to mention that, don't forget to leave us a thumbs up. It's really, really important for us. If we get the more thumbs up we get, the more the more timelines or whatever it is that we come up on other people. So we need to get those thumbs up, guys. So if we get 100 people viewing this, or 200 people viewing this, come on, guys, give us a thumbs up. What's the matter with you? It would be great to get as many as we can of those thumbs we can do. Don't forget to leave us a comment, okay? Because we love to hear what you guys think. Always remember that whatever we talk about in our shows, it's just our opinion, it's just our thoughts, and some of them are actually just on the fly, aren't they, Joe?
Oh, most of mine are on the fly.
I know. I do try and prep a little bit.
What comes in the empty space comes out. It's not a lot of it is premeditated.
Bless you. It all comes from the void. I know. But where can we find you on the socials, Joe?
You can find me on Twitter at JOK empty space.
Okay.
Go onto Facebook, look for Joe O'Keefe. KWFFE. You'll see me pop up there. Hashtag the void, hashtag empty space on Twitter or Facebook. You'll find me at some point somewhere. Same with Instagram. Hashtag the void, hashtag empty space, or look for the TNI Instagram page, and you'll see me posting a couple of stuff with them tagged in. So you'll see me there too.
That's awesome. Awesome.
Let's get the channel on YouTube, the TNI channel, 1K subscribers by Christmas, guys. I'm still pushing for that.
We need that. We need that, guys. I think that would be absolutely awesome. So remember, when you've given us a thumbs up, you've left us a comment, don't forget to head over to the page, give us a subscribe, and smash the bell, guys. Don't forget to smash the bell. Then you'll never miss any of the great content that comes out from the TNI team. Whether it be the UK team or the US team, every single week. We have stuff coming out almost every day. So it's, whoever it is, somebody, we're bringing stuff out. Joe and I, whether it be an interview from me on a Monday, we've got Impacted, obviously comes out every Friday. We've got the review show, which is the #1 rated review show on the planet. Every Tuesday, that goes out live as well after the show. So, if you want to join in the chat on that one, you're more than welcome. We've also got the throwback show, and we also have the weekly Impact show as well, which goes out, I believe, on a Sunday. They changed it around a little bit over the last couple of weeks with Thanksgiving and everything else that's been going on. So, but I think that's on a Sunday. Throwback show's on a Thursday. All right, Throwback Thursday is that one. So, make sure that you check all of those things out. And if you head over and give us a sub, smash the bell, you never miss any of it. So get over and do that, guys. We'd really appreciate it. We are trying to hit 1,000 before the 25th of December. I think we're at something like 905 at the moment. So we've got 95 subs to go. Can we do it? We can only do it with your help. So give us a thumbs up. Make sure lots of people see us. Leave us a comment. Give us a sub. Smash the bell. That's all we ask. That's all we ask. Not rocket science. That's all we ask. Right. If you're looking to follow the Bison, who've recently hit 1,000 followers this week, by the way. So congratulations to me. Fantastic. I am all ego, Lord Bison. I am over on the Twitter box. I'm over on the Twitter box at Lord Bison 45. I talk all things Impact. Please come over and give us a follow. Check out everything that I'm getting up to. And to be fair, I share pretty much everything that Joe gets up to as well. So make sure that you head over and give him a follow too. And also follow Total Nonstop Impact at We Talk Impact. On the Twitter box as well, and on the Instagram, and on the Facebook, and or whatever it is that J Ben calls it, or was it Instraneck, Twitter box, Face Neck or something? I don't know. I can't remember that. But anyway, get over on all of those. Make sure you follow the channel, follow us. We do appreciate it. So I think that's about it for this week. I think we've pretty much covered everything. Oh, don't forget Pro Wrestling Tees. Go and buy a shirt. All these things help. And actually, if you do buy a shirt, we'd love to see you wearing it. So drop us some of your pictures. Maybe put it in the comments down below. That'd be quite nice. If anyone's managed to get one, we had the Black Friday sales going on, 20% discount. I know that we've got a few orders that are coming through. So please leave us a picture if you bought one. So that's about it for today, guys. So it's a goodbye from me, the Bison, and it's a goodbye from him, the Joker. And this has been episode 11 of Impacted.
Take care.
Take care, guys.